Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Radium and today I have another Terraria Calamity mod video for all of you. In which today I have something of a Mythbusters video for you to enjoy, where I try and figure out what the rarest weapon is in Calamity. Now at the end of the day this is a very hard list to make and I'm sure a lot of people will get angry at me for saying certain weapons are rarer than others. But no matter what, you guys will get to see some of the rarest items obtainable in the game, and you guys can adjust the order if you think I'm incorrect. So starting off, I wanted to, as like a placeholder or a benchmark for these rare weapons, I decided to get what is considered the rarest weapon in all of Terraria. Like just vanilla Terraria, which I believe to be the coin gun. It's got something like a 1 in 8,000 drop chance from the pirate invasion, so my apologies. And it's just incredibly powerful. Obviously against the pirate captains and flying Dutchmen, the drop chance is slightly higher. But this is an incredible weapon with an incredibly low drop chance, and shares some drop patterns with other items in this list. So that's what we're competing with. However, if you thought the coin gun was impressive, then you guys are going to very much enjoy the halibut cannon. This is a weapon with a 1 in 100,000 drop chance from any enemy in the abyss. So you can literally get this weapon as early as pre-hard mode if you play your cards right. And it's an incredibly powerful weapon. It fires these barrages of bullets that cancel at the edge of your screen, but they fire anywhere from 25 to 30 shots around, and it's really good against enemies with high defense, or enemies with low defense, at the polar opposite, and it's a very fun weapon to use. A lot of people have seen it before, and I personally really enjoy the aesthetic of the weapon. It will lag a lot, because obviously the amount of bullets you're firing out constantly is going to be insane, but this is a very powerful weapon. There are only a few issues in terms of the rarity of this weapon, which is why I won't rank it higher in this video. The main issue is that it's a 1% drop chance from the Eidolon worms that spawn there, which is significantly easier to obtain. And even worse, it's a 100% drop chance from the adult Eidolon worm, which is nearly impossible to kill. But if you can manage it, then you get this weapon guaranteed. But those tasks are so incredibly hard to do, I couldn't not include it in this list. And the 100,000, well, 0.001% drop chance of this weapon is the lowest drop chance in all of Calamity. You guys might honestly be questioning how we can possibly get rarer than that, but now we're venturing back into another bunch of items I've covered previously, the rare item variants, which are different variations of very common weapons in the game, and they're significantly stronger than beforehand. And the one I've selected for this list is the Clovier's Wrath, which may be a weird pick for you guys, because any of them could really be on this list depending on your opinions. But this is an item that is dropped from Skeletron with a 2.5% drop chance. That doesn't seem too bad, as Skeletron's a very early boss, and that's fine. But if you're not using any mods, then this is an incredibly difficult item to grind for in Calamity. So the reason being is you'll have to limit yourself to doing one Skeletron fight a night, unless you've got some additional summoning mods, or just something along those lines. But I'm sure there are loopholes around it, like simply installing alternate boss spawner mod. And this weapon is nothing special, it's just the fact that you really only get one shot at getting this weapon every single night. And after that, it's a 1 in 40 drop chance from Skeletron. So not the rarest necessarily, but in my opinion it's the most interesting weapon to cover in terms of rarity. The next weapon is another strange one. It is the Void Vortex, which is a drop from the Jungle Dragon Yaren, with a 2.5% drop chance. In my opinion, this is one of the coolest weapons in all of Calamity. I covered this in the rare weapon variants as well, because it technically is one. But I just think it's so cool, and it's just such a fun weapon for mages to use. I've included this because, although 2.5% does not seem like that difficult of a drop rate, Yaren is the penultimate boss in all of Calamity, so obviously it's going to be very, very hard to obtain. It's a very, very powerful weapon, one that is recommended in my opinion for Supreme Calamitous, maybe even certain scenarios in Boss Rush. But overall, it's a weapon that mainly focuses on aesthetic, and I'd heavily recommend getting this weapon if you are an aspiring mage. The next subjects I want to cover in this list are legendary weapons. These are extremely rare drops from certain bosses throughout the entire game, literally ranging from most fights from, for example, what's a good example? From Cryogen to the Devourer of Gods, there you go. and they are just insanely difficult to get. I believe the drop chances increase exponentially throughout the game, and these are Revengeance mode exclusive items, as are some of these weapons in this list regardless. But what the most important thing to realise is, and I'm sorry for the lag, but all of these drops will have an identical drop chance at the same point in the game. So the rarest one is going to be the item from the hardest boss. So I've gone with the Cosmic Discharge. This is a drop from the Devourer of Gods. It's something of an upgraded Solar Eruption, and I've covered it in a video before, one of my first commentary videos of all time. And it's an incredibly cool looking weapon. One that's not too practical due to its short range, but the vanity of getting this item is enough. And additionally, it's used to craft another amazing weapon, which we'll cover later in the video. You guys must have thought the Void Vortex was difficult to get, the 1 in 40 drop chance from Yaren. But the next weapon is going to blow that one out of the water, because the next fight isn't, well, the next weapon, my apologies, is in fact the Yaren's Crystal. This is a 1% drop chance from Yaren, and acts as a super buffed Lost Prison with far more mobility and control, and it feels extremely fun to use in my eyes. One thing I would say about this weapon is that it's probably one of the best mage weapons in the game, but obviously, as you'd expect, it's incredibly costly to maintain. So you'll want an avid mage set up to even sustain the ammunition for this. And you guys may be concerned with what's possibly rarer than this. At this stage it's all speculation, but I have a couple of weapons that may rival this. This is a bit more broad of a subject than the others so far, but one thing I wanted to cover are post-Supreme Calamitous weapons. These are weapons which are both incredibly hard to grind for, and some of them have very difficult crafting trees. Whether it's simplistic, with a bunch of items required, or just insanely difficult recipes altogether, with items throughout the entire game in some cases. For example, the Elemental Excalibur is not what I'd consider rare, but it's just so difficult to obtain due to the obscure crafting recipe. And weapons like, say, the Dance of Light are a lot more simplistic to obtain, but then there are some evil ones within the mix. The Eternity is the next item I want to cover, because this, in my opinion, is a very rare one, but it just about misses out on the list. This is crafted with a bunch of different tomes, and additionally the Subsuming Vortex, which is fine, because it's a superior weapon to the Subsuming Vortex tenfold. But the crafting tree is just so diverse and contains so many different weapons throughout the game, which some of these might even be put into the Subsuming Vortex, which means you'll need to obtain multiple different of the same tomes to obtain it. Now you may think that's bad, but there's actually one weapon, in my opinion, that conquers all in terms of rarity, and that weapon would be the Apotheosis. I'll explain why momentarily. This weapon not only uses the Subsuming Vortex, which is a crafting recipe for Eternity, but it also uses the Cosmic Discharge, which, for you guys who didn't gather, is the rarest legendary weapon in the game. Additionally, 2 Staves of the Mechworm, 2 Excelsiuses, which are more Devourer of Gods drops, which you'll probably obtain by the time you get one of these. Ascendant Spirit Essences, which are formations of Nightmare Fuel and Endothermic Energy. 33 and 33 of Cosmolite and Dark Sun Fragments, and the 5 Shadow Spec Bars. And this weapon is incredibly powerful, but as a result of being, in my opinion, the strongest weapon in Calamity as of now, or at least in terms of practicality, you have the most difficult weapon to obtain as far as I can tell. Now, I may be wrong with this list, as there may be, just for example, some items I haven't heard about, and some people may consider the Halibut cannon to be way more rare than anything else on this list, just because of that insane drop chance. But in my eyes, I'm trying to focus on the larger perspective of what people want to grind for in the long run. So with that said, I'm very sorry that this video is a bit of a short one and a simplistic one. To be honest, I'm just trying to get back into the groove of schools, and for tomorrow, I might have an update video for you guys to enjoy. As well as another video if I can somehow strive for the effort. But with that said, I have to say thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out, guys.